I'm Hebah Fisher, and this is Kerning Cultures, stories from the Middle East and the spaces in between.
Artists from Beirut that have been doing street art.
More than is predictable, they've seen it happen.
And one story that always kind of captures my imagination.
Bed in the morning, betting going in because I'm going to stand up on
The streets lost culture.
And you're listening to Kerning Cultures. A couple of months ago, the KC production team, Dana, Alex, and I got on a call together because Alex, who's our managing producer, had an idea for us.
Hey, how's it going?
He suggested, what if we asked you, our listeners, to send us on a challenge? You tell us what topic you want us to report on, and then we go out and do it.
Hebah, could you read out what all the options were?
Yeah, so we have Middle Eastern obesity, stories of disabilities in the region in the age of tech, female solo travel.
We got a lot of suggestions from you. Thank you for that. And they were all good ideas, some of which we're working on for other episodes, actually. But for this kind of production challenge to work, the topic needed to be something simple.
Well, I've already chosen.
I've already chosen.
Well, I think the thing is, like, all of those other story ideas, as kind of wonderful as they are like so big and just like, we need something that we can do in 2 to 3 weeks.
Something that's fun and not depressing and not too, not too brainy.
Yeah. Okay. So, Dana, what have we chosen? 1, 2, 3.
Baklava. Yes.
Baklava, like the dessert. And the idea was that we would compete as producers, each producing a separate story about baklava, and we'd air the final pieces here on Kerning Cultures.
Okay, let's establish some ground rules then. The rules are, okay, number 1 rule I think is that there is no rule. And extra points will be given for inventiveness, extra points for like how well you interpret the theme.
I think our audience should also grade us.
That's a great idea, Dana. The winner will be based on who tells the best story.
So we are keeping it secret from each other, right?
Yeah.
And so we went our separate ways, competing to find the best baklava story to win you over, because you, our dear listeners, will decide which story wins in the end.
Cool. All right. I look forward to winning this, guys.
Yeah. Good luck.
I feel like me and Dana are going to end up like hating each other by the end of this. We're like the 2 most competitive people on the team, I think.
I am pretty competitive.
Yeah, this is going to be the last Kerning Cultures episode ever. It just goes off air after this. It's just a suspicious, like, empty feed after this.
All right, bye, dears. Have a great rest of your day.
Bye.
Bye, guys. Have a good day.
In the weeks that followed, there were cryptic photos sent back and forth as we each reported our stories in secret. And when we were done, we came back together to hear each other's stories for the first time.
How's it going?
Good. How are you?
Hi, everyone.
How does everybody feel about their stories, given this competition's been going on for, some time, and there's been a lot of trash talk on WhatsApp and otherwise? How do you guys feel now that we've reported our stories?
What? Who was trash talking? I don't know who you're talking about.
Hebah, do you want to go first? Or do you want me to go first?
I can go first.
Okay, cool. I was hoping you'd say that.
Well, first, I didn't know where the heck to look for a story about baklava. So I asked everybody that I knew, and my cousin was the one who saved me. My cousin Nihal, and she told me about a friend of hers who owns a pastry shop. This really old pastry shop in Alexandria called Halaby, and they make baklava. So she gave me his number. I called him. His name is Yahya, and he agreed to meet me at a cafe inside the Alexandria Sporting Club one early morning. It was actually the first day of the spring holiday, so I think I woke him up much earlier than he needed to be woken up that day. And the other thing about this story is that I know that we said only English stories on Kerning Cultures, but this has a little bit of Arabic in it.
My name is Yahya. I have 2 Abdus Salams. My name is Yahya Abdus Salam Abdus Salam.
El Halaby, the grandfather of my father, started the business. We are the fourth generation in this business. I'm the fourth generation.
So Yahya starts telling me about the origins of baklava.
The origin started 800 years before Christ. They started the concept of baklava or the baklava.
How did you just pronounce it?
Here, it's baklava, but baklava, which is the Turkish way, but it's not the origin. The origin started in Greece, and this is a struggle between the two nations till now. Who started the baklava? Is it Greece? Is it Turkey? I don't know, but I go for Greece. Maybe because I'm Alexandrian, so I go for Greece. The concept of baklava is putting sheets of dough, numerous number of sheets, and they filled it with nuts. And then they put it in wooden ovens, and they get it out, and they put on it the syrup. Other days it was not syrup, it was honey. So this was the concept. After the death of Christ, Jesus Christ, they took a decision that the baklava done in Greece will be only 33 layers. Not more, not less. Why? It was the age of Jesus when he died. Yes. But for example, in Egypt, we make it around 16 layers. Other people go for 40 layers. Other people go for only 1 layer. Yes. And they start rolling it.
It's like a little cigarette.
Yes,
صح?
exactly. So we have here, I got you some things, and I want you to taste it in order to know the difference between both and both. Yes, now we're opening it. Okay.
So Yahya brought with him a plate of maybe 30 pieces of different kinds of
Here
baklava,
it is.
all different
This is
shapes and
pistachio.
fillings. Some were square, some were rolled up like a cigarette, and some were folded like a pancake stuffed with nuts.
Almonds, lows, and this is bundo. You can taste it. No.
Which one should I start with?
I think you should start with bundo or bundo. Yes, bundo. Yes,
Which one's
this
that?
one.
This one?
Yes, you can start with it.
So I pick up one of the pieces of baklava that's rolled like a cigarette, and it's filled with crushed hazelnuts. But then he tells me not to chew it.
Let me just
Yeah,
don't
is
eat.
there-
Don't eat. Yes, just try to do something.
Okay.
In order, it's my father's tip to know whether the baklava is good or not. Try not to chew it with your teeth. Yeah, if it's good, it will simply زي ما بيقولوا هتدوب في بقك. Yes, if it's good. So let us start with this. Yes.
Okay. All right, I'm gonna try this.
Wait, so what are you doing? You're just putting it in your mouth and waiting for it to dissolve, or it's like you just swallow it all in one?
Yeah. So you're not supposed to. Apparently, the trick is you don't bite. If it's really good baklava, it'll just melt in your mouth. So you just roll it around on your tongue. So you won't hear me chewing. It just melts.
Yes, this is what I'm talking about. You don't need to chew it at the beginning. At the end, you will need to chew it, but at the beginning, you just need to just keep like this. It will simply dissolve in your mouth.
على فكرة Yahya, that was so good.
Yeah?
That was so
That's
good.
great. Alhamdulillah. That's great.
That was so good.
بس استني بس انت هتطحني النهارده. Just try this. This is with cream.
I basically proceeded to eat half my weight in baklava that morning. It was by far the most delicious interview I've ever done. So what makes it baklava?
بص, we start with a simple dough, flour and water, maybe some oil, maybe salt. This is the simple one, like these ones, which makes it very, as you said, بتدوب. On other concepts, I'm gonna show you the one with ishta on this. You can make the dough with eggs. We add eggs. Why do we add eggs? Because the person who makes it with his hand, who spreads it with his نشابة, خشب كده, something.
Like a rolling pin.
Yes. بيفضل يفردها. when we put البيض ده بيخليها أسهل إن هو يقدر يفردها. فمهما كانت اللايرز عالية. طبعا nowadays في مكان للكلام ده يعني.
Do you use any of these machines?
For now, no.
Everything by hand?
Yes, I love this. Yes, it gives a different taste, in my point of view. وهي أصعب حاجة في الأورينتال سويتس, by the way. Putting this into consideration, البقلاوة أصعب حاجة تتعمل. if the dough مش مظبوطة العجينة هتفضل تتقطع. لا you cannot imagine it's not that easy. It's not that easy خالص. It takes a lot of effort from the person making it. A lot of effort. Okay? You start cutting it into squares, into triangles, whatever. The next step is we start filling it. So we either fill it with pistachio, almonds, hazelnuts, or with cream like this, or قشطة. البقلاوة دي حاجة، والبقلاوة دي اللي هي بالكريمة، والقشطة دي حاجة تانية. القشطة دي لازم تدوقيها، دي أخطر حاجة في الدنيا يعني. والله بجد. دي القشطة دي جاموسي برضه. دي بقى دي حاجة تانية خالص. لو بقري هتلاقيها تميل للأصفر شوية. يس. الجاموسي أبيض. يعني حتى السمنة، يعني كنت ممكن أجيب لك عينات سمنة. البقري صفرة، الجاموسي بيضة و at sometimes like this في السبرينج you find it greenish شوية. ليه؟ الجاموس في الوقت ده something very برضو agriculture شوية، بياكلوا برسيم.
Alfalfa? ايه ده؟ My dad loves this in his sandwiches.
أيوة. الجاموس بياكل برسيم في الربيع، فبيدي دسامة أعلى. يعني the best أحسن season عشان السمنة الوقت ده spring and الخريف autumn and spring، إن بتبقى اللبن طالع دسم جدا، فممكن ياخد خضار بسيط جدا. يعني you won't، انت مش هتشوفيه، انا هشوفه، فهقول والله دي مزرعه برسيم كويسه، دي مش مزرعه برسيم كويسه. I will know difference. You won't do it.
So, pro tip, the best samna and ishta comes from buffaloes in the springtime.
طبعا القشطه دي حاجه تانية خالص، انا عايزك تدوقيها.
Okay, يلا بينا. I can describe it. So it's like a little sandwich, phyllo pastry فوق, phyllo pastry underneath, and then inside is the ishta, and then it's covered in pistachio, like crumbled pistachio, and it looks delicious.
Yeah.
Okay, so this one I can bite.
Yes.
Okay.
You will hear. Now you can hear it.
Oh my god.
Oh.
How sick did you feel afterwards, Hebah? How much did you eat?
No, I didn't feel sick at all actually, and I didn't finish everything that he gave us. So I took it back to my cousin, and then we sat and we continued eating together. It was really great. And all of this talk of ishta took our conversation somewhere else.
القشطه دي this is the ishta that my father introduced to Harissat at the beginning. I'm so passionate about Harissat. Don't take me to this direction. عشان انا مش هتكلم غير فيها.
So here's the thing. Yahya's pastry business is called Harissat al-Halaby, not Baklawat al-Halaby. They're famous for their harissa, not baklawa. So even though he knows his stuff when it comes to baklawa, Yahya and his family are best known for their harissa.
احنا بتوع هريسة وهنفضل بتوع هريسة. And this is what I keep saying to my children. احنا بتوع هريسة. I would give anything for هريسة بصراحة. يعني it's a passion. But this doesn't mean that our baklawa is bad. Our baklawa is good.
Do you guys know what harissa is?
Like the little red, I don't know if it's a spice or what you'd call it, but the red flakes thing.
So I have to tell you, actually, when I first spoke with Yahya, I was super confused too, because I know harissa as that spicy chili paste that comes from, like what you were saying, Alex, comes from Morocco or Libya or Tunis. But Yahya explained to me there are actually 3 kinds of harissa. There's 3 things called harissa. So there's the spicy chili paste. Then there's this harissa in Iraq and Syria, which is a type of meat that you slow cook for like 6 hours. And then in Egypt, in Alexandria specifically, there's a 3rd type of harissa, which is very similar to basbousa. And that's the dessert that's made from semolina, butter, sometimes coconut, and you pour syrup over it. And actually, a lot of Egyptians don't know the difference between basbousa and harissa. That's how similar they are. Okay, how come if there's so many other words بتاع يعني where did that word come from and why isn't it basbousa?
Because بسبوسة بتبس الحاجة. يعني سخنتها جدا 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 بنار مباشرة with direct heat. So you're cooking it. بس البسبوسة. We make harissa. So احنا بنهرس العجين.
Basically, for the most part, basbousa and harissa have exactly the same ingredients. But for basbousa, you will cook the dough as you mix it over high heat. harissa, the true Alexandrian way, you mix the dough first and then you cook it. And Harissat al-Halaby was the first shop to sell harissa in Alexandria.
The grandfather of my father started the business before 1909 with a kiosk in a place called محطة الرمل. A lot of people know it in Alexandria. My great-grandfather was named Hassan, Al-Haj Hassan. Yes, we are Rukhsa number 1. The license is number 1. Can you believe this? Yes, it is. It is the oldest one. And to make harissa, yes. Some people, when we start our shop in محطة الرمل, we open at 7 a.m. A lot of people come at 7:15 to have their breakfast. والله بجد انا هاخد ربع كيلو هريسه وعليه حته قشطه. This is my breakfast. It gives a lot. One of my friends was a swimming champion. So he used to tell me, when I have a small race, which is 100 meters or 200 meters, you need to boost your energy. Wallahi, I need to boost my energy. So I used to get 8 kilo harissa. And now it's time for the race. It's about 5 minutes to go or 4 minutes to go. I just eat it. I do well. I have to put it as a slogan if you want to be a swimmer. Yes, you got me. My great-grandfather started the business with only one kind of harissa. He invented the recipe. It's a know-how in the Halaby family only. Yes, nobody knows what's happening and why it's different. And this recipe is the one we use till now. We didn't change anything. And now we're 2019, so 110 years and till now.
And there's something about this dessert, about harissa, that is so typically Alexandrian.
Harissa al-Halaby is very nostalgic, بصراحة. For all Alexandrians. Because محطة الرمل زمان was the main place where all people meet. It's called the center. So my grandfather, your grandfather, anyone living in Egypt or in Alexandria, all people at the age of 60, 70, this is what they say. You know, now a lot of people, أنا رايح كارفور. لا, أنا رايح محطة الرمل. I'm going to the cinema radio, and then going eating fool and falafel in Muhammad Ahmad. After going to Muhammad Ahmad, we go to your shop, eat our harissa. This is why it's very nostalgic. And we just kept the recipe to keep it nostalgic, as all of Alexandria, this was their life. We are very emotional in this. Yes, I can go with what's happening all over the world, and we have 6 branches to 5 branches, and we're dynamic. We can make, as you see, baklava. We can make kunefa, we can make molten cakes, we make brownies, everything. Yes, and a lot of people are happy and such things. But when we come to this specific product, I believe there is a blessing from my great-grandfather, and it's continuing. I won't change anything. It's good. You tasted it. Did you like it?
It's excellent.
Yes, this is what I'm talking about. I just want to keep it like this.
Great job, Hebah.
I love this story. What a character. Well done. You're a sneaky one, Hebah. I like the way you work. You know, you're like silently working in the background when we're so loud, and look at you.
You guys are ridiculous. I'm really glad you enjoyed it. And alhamdulillah.
All right, Alex, you're next.
Okay, so do you want to guess where, Dana? I feel like you had like a lot of guesses for where I was going for my story, but none of them I think were right. Do you know where I went?
I know you went to Turkey.
Do you know where in Turkey?
I thought you went to Gaziantep because that is like the heartland of Turkish cuisine. And then you told me you didn't.
I wish I was that intrepid, actually. So I went to Ankara in Turkey for my story because, so I went to meet these 2 guys.
Fatih Akpınar, Moda Ankara Bölge Müdürüyüm, gıda mühendisiyim.
Fatih Akpınar, he is the Ankara District Manager of MADO.
Ben Profesör Doktor Muharrem Tuna, MADO'nun danışmanlığını yapıyorum. Aynı zamanda akademisyen olarak görev yapıyorum.
He is Professor Dr. Muharrem Tuna. He acts as an advisor to the MADO brand. Also, he is an academician.
Excuse me, hold on. You not only traveled for this story, you hired a translator?
Yeah, I hired a translator.
My God. Okay, keep going.
So, I hired Dilara to help me with the story because basically I found okay, so I found these videos online of these guys building the world's largest baklava. And I didn't really think there was anything interesting about it. And then I read that the reason that they did it was because they wanted to like. So Hebah, you mentioned this in your story, but there's like a bit of conflict about where baklava comes from. And by the way, I know that we pronounced it baklawa for the Egyptian story, but I'm going to say baklava because that's how the guys in my story pronounced it in Turkey. There's like some kind of conflict between where it came from, and Hebah, your guy Yahya, said that it came from Greece, but these guys were like, they work for this Turkish baklava company called Mado, which is this kind of sweet shop, and they wanted to basically do something that like proved once and for all that that baklava was Turkish and not Greek.
Baklava is very controversial when it comes to its origin. There are many countries in the world that say baklava is theirs. Balkans, Czechs, Middle Eastern countries, even in America, it is said to be their dessert.
Really?
Yeah, even some Americans apparently. Yeah. By the way, I heard that Texas is big on baklava.
I actually googled that.
What is happening? Okay.
Yeah, it's true. Apparently Texas are like mad on baklava. I googled it, and there's like, you can find like recipes online for like Texan baklava and like all this stuff.
Anyway, we know the historic papers tell us that it was brought to Anatolia by the Turks from the Asia, Central Asia. And then during the Ottoman Empire time, it got abroad to all the Middle Eastern countries and the Balkans and everything. But we know and we believe that its origin is Turks.
Okay, so these guys who run this sweet shop, this chain of sweet shops in Turkey called Mado, it's 2017, and they're kind of like sitting around, like trying to figure out ways basically to kind of prove to the world that baklava is Turkish and not from the Balkans or the Middle East or Greece or anywhere like that. And the best idea they could come up with apparently was breaking the world record for the world's largest baklava. So would it be fair to say that like the reason you wanted to attempt the record, breaking the record, was to kind of put a stake in the ground and kind of say that baklava is Turkish?
Kesinlikle. Tabii burada önemli olan Türkiye'nin gastronomi.
He says, of course, that was one of the biggest intentions to say that baklava is ours once and for all. And we wanted to do it with a show. Also, you can say that we went crazy a bit.
Which is a giant understatement, honestly. So I think when you watch the videos of this thing and when you see the baklava, it's like huge, but I don't think that's like the most impressive part about it. But I think the amount of planning that they put into this thing is. And okay, so basically in 2018 they were hosting this big food fair in Ankara. So that was their deadline, and they started in 2017 planning this thing. And the first thing they did was they built a purpose-built oven because they obviously didn't have one big enough on hand.
Can I ask you a question? So how big is this tray of baklava?
So for scale, I would say it's about as big as like 2 cars put side by side. Okay, another thing they did was like nothing was built. They didn't have an oven this size, so they like commissioned an oven to be built like specifically for this. And then on top of that, all of the utensils and all of the trays and all of the cutlery and like all of the cook's equipment and the cook's clothing, like everything that they used in this record attempt was made like specially for the record attempt. That's what they did for a whole year, setting up this thing. And then March 2018 comes around, and the day of the day of the event rolls around, and they started preparing for this at midnight the night before.
And ended next day at 1 p.m. Almost 13 hours.
Did you sleep? We didn't sleep.
He says he only slept like 2-3 hours a day, especially at the last 3 days.
And when you see the videos for this, there's like news crews and like this kind of huge packed, I guess, hall of people watching while they're making this enormous tray. Can you describe the, you said that there was like a way to get the chef over it. Can you describe what that looked like?
Şimdi 2,5 metre eninde 7 metre
So he says a
boyunda bir
regular baklava
tepsisi
tray
düşün. Normal
is
baklava tepsileri
30 centimeters to 70 centimeters.
For context, that's like an arm's length.
But this tray that was specifically made for this was 2.5 meters to 7 meters. And in order for the chef to prepare it, he has to be able to reach each and every corner of that tray, because you have to put in the dough, and then you have to put the filling, and then you have to put the sherbet, the syrup, in every centimeter of that dessert. They made a 513 kilograms of baklava. So the system they built worked like this. They made a rail system that would first get them up on the seating area that's right above the tray, and 2 chefs would go on that, and the other helper chefs would push them while they are working on the dessert.
So they were sitting on platforms,
Yes.
like above.
Yes, they had a platform, and he's telling me that even the chefs were so excited, and they were so shocked when they saw the system. They were basically dancing sort of on the dessert, so even they were shocked.
I think this is the best bit for me. So I've just thought of that movie. Do you know that film, Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, where like everything is like 10 times bigger than it should be, and like the humans are tiny?
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
Yeah, that's basically what it reminded me of. Was there a point where you thought like, oh, maybe this isn't gonna work?
Yok, öyle bir şey hiç aklımızdan geçmedi.
There was this
Çünkü hazırlık
moment
sadece,
where the middle part got a bit more heated. And in making of a dessert like baklava, all it takes is like 5 seconds of overheating. So yes, if I have to be completely honest, the middle part was a bit more cooked than the other parts, but it wasn't burnt, and
I think in the video it looks burnt to me, but
the taste wasn't affected. But because they are perfectionists, they see it as a sort of a problem.
And so Guinness are really strict about all of the kind of rules and stipulations they put in place to break a world record. I was in touch with a bunch of people at Guinness trying to get an interview, but none of them wanted to like speak to me on tape. I'm not entirely sure why. But basically, I got an email from the lady who was adjudicating the event, and she said that she was watching it from a satellite link in London to make sure that everything was kind of in line with the rules that they'd set for them.
So the Guinness rules say that they have to make everything on the spot. They can only have raw materials brought in, like the flour or sugar. But you have to turn, for example, sugar into sherbet, the syrup, on the spot, or you have to turn it to the flour, to the very thin layer of baklava dough. You have to do it on the spot. And we have 14 chefs working on baklava, and they were so fast that we couldn't keep up with them with their demands of like sherbets or the doughs, because they were working so fast.
Okay, I have a question for you guys. How much, if you had to guess, do you think they spent on everything?
$30,000.
Okay. Hebah?
That's I'll go higher. $50,000.
Okay. Okay, how much did it cost, the whole thing, like start to finish, including the oven and everything? Can you tell me?
It's commercial. But, it's a very hard question, but maybe, I'm not sure, but maybe $200,000 maybe.
Oof. Wow. Yeah. I mean, the oven alone probably costs $100,000.
Yeah. So $200,000 on this thing, which, I mean, yeah, that's insane to me. And also, the thing is, they didn't even get to eat it when it was finished.
Just in an hour, the tray was there was no baklava in the tray.
The chefs, although they were very, very tired, after the record was set, they went on working to serve it to that huge crowd that were expecting to taste it. So none of the chefs, including him, actually tasted the baklava.
That's so sad.
Oh, çok üzücü diyor. So, in case you don't ask, he wants to say the hardest part was the cleaning. So after the baklava is gone, everybody was gone. So he was left there alone, apparently.
Like everybody just kind of ate the baklava and then left. And then they were just left with this like enormous tray of like crusted leftover baklava. So to clean it, they all like get on top of the tray.
So they brought in someone from, like a lot of people actually they brought in. And they were in the tray with car washing equipment, trying to wash it. They washed it for like 6-7 times just to get the syrup out of it. So for him, apparently the hardest part was the cleaning up.
So I should say that before this, there was, I mean, maybe this is obvious, maybe it's not, but there was no world record for the world's largest baklava before this. But now I think since they broke the world record, I mean, there wasn't a world record for this before, but now I think it seems that they've like opened a can of worms because they've already heard of a few competitors from other countries who want to try and beat them.
Yani geleceğin ne getireceği belli olmaz.
He says we never know what the future holds. There's nothing official, but I'm hearing rumors and talks about, shall we do this too? Shall we try to beat them? But no one has the courage to undertake this huge task. I even hear some word from like internationally other countries, but like I said, there is nothing official. Nobody says they're gonna try it because everybody's scared to try.
How would you feel and what would you do if somebody beat you?
Birisi yani seni hissederdiniz. Ne düşünüyorum?
Biz de onları yeneriz sonrasında.
We would beat them again.
Okay, that's my baklava story.
Alex, I love it so much.
I really, really like it. I'm annoyed how much I like it, but that's okay. I like it. I like it a lot, and I can't believe you got a translator and traveled.
Yeah, can I just say, I think I definitely went overboard because I spent more of my own money on this than I should have. I know we had a budget for it, but I spent like way more than that.
Today's episode is brought to you by a food culture website in Egypt that appreciates baklava just as much as we do. It's called Scene Eats. And Scene Eats is your go-to for the latest restaurant reviews around Egypt, and also just this celebration of food culture in general. As Haitham, the editorial director, puts it,
a line that we were kind of throwing around was that Scene Eats is a love letter to food. You know, Egypt and the Middle East has a really rich culture of food. It's just that it's not celebrated. So that's what we're trying to do with Scene Eats. We're trying to do much more than tell people what to cook or where to go. It's education and entertainment of food in all its facets.
So whether it's a short film about a 17-year-old master cake baker, or the Italian mozzarella factory in Cairo you didn't know existed, get your food game on at Scene Eats. Follow them on social at SCENEEATS or on their website at sceneeats.com. Now back to the show.
Dana, do you want to queue up your episode so that we have something to go into it with?
Yeah, I originally wanted to do a story around the different types of baklava. I wanted to do a story about shapes, the different shapes of baklava and how we even got, like how those shapes even became, like the triangles and all of that. Like I wondered if there was something about like the Ottomans and geometry and that kind of thing. And then I went to Lebanon and yeah, life happened and I woke up one morning and it was my mom's birthday and I thought, yeah, why not force her to help me on her birthday? Okay, Mama, are you ready?
Okay, I'm putting 1 cup sugar, 2 cups water. I'm making simple syrup.
Do you want me to help you?
It doesn't need help for simple syrup. You let it boil until it becomes thick. Okay, now I'm gonna take a break for lunch.
We just started.
But you have to do the syrup way ahead.
This is my mom, Ghada. You might have heard her before on one of our episodes a few months ago called Her Side of the Story. And today, on May 17, the day that this was recorded, it was her 64th birthday. And there I was, on her birthday, asking her to help me make a dessert that really neither one of us even liked. Do you even like baklava?
No, it's not my favorite sweet.
And shove a microphone to her face for over an hour.
This thing is so annoying.
What do you mean? Why?
The microphone is so annoying.
Why?
Because you keep almost, it's like close to my lips.
I was having a blast, and while I clearly was winging this episode, the truth is I had never even seen my mom make baklava, and so I was quite surprised when she promised me that she knew the recipe by heart.
The time when I started cooking, I didn't have the internet, so I was blessed that I observed my mom. I stood by her and I watched. She wouldn't tell me come and learn, but I wanted to learn so much that I always watched, which you should do too.
Do you have a first memory of the time that you ate baklava?
Every time I eat baklava,
you can say baklava.
Homemade,
Yeah.
I remember my mom because she used to make it so delicious. My daughter now is taking the place that I used to take with my mom. So now we're letting the syrup boil, and then in 5 minutes we'll turn it off.
And that's how you make syrup? That's it?
The simple syrup.
Did you put mawarad and mazahar?
No, I'll put it at the end.
Okay.
At the end. And plus like a half a teaspoon of lemon juice so the sugar doesn't crystallize.
Yeah. This cute moment of a recipe being passed on from one generation of daughters to another lasted about a minute before the inevitable chaos of Beirut and my mother took over. Your phone is ringing. Am I in your space?
No. You're fine.
I just let it... Ow! Why did you...
I thought Bara did.
Let the record show.
Let the
You
record
burned
show.
me.
I tried to burn my daughter. Some people were not born to be in the kitchen. So.
Are you talking about me?
No, I'm talking about so many people who don't care to be in the kitchen.
Mama, you keep pushing me.
Yes, because I need my space.
I can't imagine that my mom's experience of learning baklava was like this, constantly interrupted, her mother pushing her out of the kitchen and burning her like she was doing to me. All in jest, of course. But it's okay. I tried to stay in the moment because I had a legacy I was trying to fulfill. You know, Mama, my colleague Alex, you remember him?
Yes. Of course, he's a very nice person.
Yeah, because he interviewed you for
Yes.
Her Side of the Story. Do you remember?
Of course I do.
This is our baklava competition, me, Hebah, and Alex. But our stories are kept secret from one another. And I feel like he's going to beat me in this competition.
Well, good for him.
He went to Turkey, I think, to do something related to baklava. I don't know what it is, but I know that he went to Turkey for it.
Yeah, it's a very wise decision because every country makes baklava their own way.
The point is
Well,
to
I
win.
wish him the best of luck, and I wish you the best of luck. And the other person,
Hebah.
Hebah.
But you want me to win, right?
You're my daughter. I mean, of course.
Suddenly, we were interrupted again. If you remember, this day was my mom's birthday. So in the middle of shit-talking on my colleagues, my mom gets an important birthday call from her own mother.
يا حياتي يا أمي إن شاء الله بيكون عمرك طويل يا سند بنتك يا رب وبتضلك مبسوطة وبتضلك تعملي كل شيء بتحبيه ماما.
يا حياتي انتو كلياتكم يا رايتك هون
كلارو ماما كلارو كيف بحب كون رايحين تاكلوا بالرياض أرجنتينا كلارو كيف بحب كون معكم.
ايه ماما اوكي يا راجوتي
يا-
الله يكون معي
Gracias mamucho, te quiero mucho.
te adoro.
You're listening to my grandmother who lives in Miami call my mom to say happy birthday. My mom is joking that she wishes she lived in Miami to eat Argentinian barbecue with them today. They speak in Spanish because they mostly lived in Venezuela where my mom grew up. She's saying, I love you, and my grandmother is saying, I adore you. Even though I wanted to keep this a jokey, lighthearted episode, I thought it would be a good moment to bring up something I know has been bothering my mom for a while. And I wanted to do it as gently as possible, so I didn't stop her from doing what she was doing after the call, the dishes. And that's the noise that you're hearing in the background. Mama,
Now,
do you want to talk about your mom getting old?
yeah, she's not the same. She's not interested. She's not interested in the kitchen anymore. She's not interested in cooking anymore. Thank God she loves to read. But she was such an independent woman, doing everything on her own, managing the whole house affairs, She managed us all. And now she only wants to sit with her dog, sleep during the day. She's just getting old. And I miss my mom, the young mom. I miss her strength. I miss her hyperactivity at home. And I took her hyperactivity because I'm hyperactive like she is.
Very true.
Yeah, and I'm an avid learner like she always was. She always wanted to read and learn. And yes, I miss how my mother used to be. But we're all gonna be 85 one day.
How do you want me to take care of you when you're 85?
Always pushing me to keep doing the things that I can still do. I always want to explore. I always want to be active. And I always want my children to keep pushing me to be active. This is how I want to age.
Okay, I'll try.
Yeah.
You want me to take you to Italy when you're 85?
No, I'd rather go to Italy before I'm 85 so I can enjoy it more. Okay, let's continue with the baklava.
Okay, I'll finish now.
It will dry up.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
Oh, great, I forgot.
Shit. It's okay, it's fine. I'm saying it's fine, but really it was not fine.
This is the first time I bake it.
So is this the first time you make baklava alone?
Yes.
No way.
Yeah, I never made baklava before.
No way.
Yeah, but I should have gone to YouTube.
I should have taken that as a sign. You can't hear it very well, but at the end, my mom says I should have gone to YouTube. Yeah, she should have. I think it needed more, Mama. I think you put too much butter. And I think it needed more time in the oven.
You're kidding.
Yeah.
We have to put it again.
You're gonna put it again?
Yeah, it will work.
Oh my God, okay. It was massively undercooked, so we put it back in the oven after already pouring syrup all over it. And if you know anything about cooking, this was not a good situation.
It needs more cooking, but it's much better than before. It's crunchier.
So we have to put it back in the oven? I don't want to put it back in the oven. I'm tired.
I'll put it.
I turned off the oven.
I'll turn it on back.
خلص Mama, it's fine. Whoa.
I'll put it 10 more minutes.
In the oven again. What's making it gooey is because you put the butter and then put it in the fridge, in the oven.
I made it gooey because it was undercooked. And I put the other. We didn't know it was undercooked.
I know, but because you put the butter, now it's still gonna be gooey forever.
No,
So.
it's not gonna be good. If you taste it now, it's crunchier than before.
So we made our first baklava together for the first time.
Yeah.
And we totally screwed it up.
I mean, we learn. You screw up when you learn.
You learn when you screw up.
You learn when you screw up. It's not all the way around. Oh, well, there's always a first time. I don't think...
There's always a next time. In this baklava challenge, which I still hope I win, I already feel a little victorious. I learned that my mom wants to go to Italy before 85, and that neither one of us should be trusted with phyllo dough and simple syrup.
I did most of the washing, so you're fine.
No, I did most of the cooking.
Okay, but I cleaned.
No, I cleaned.
Are we gonna have a discussion now?
Okay.
Okay, I'm gonna throw it away.
By the way, we threw the entire baklava away.
Dana, I loved your story so much. I mean that. I think it's so sweet, and it's like such a beautiful. I feel like I'm privy to this special moment between a mother and her daughter.
I said to you the other day, I think your mum should have her own regular segment on the podcast. She's just like, she's so funny and entertaining to listen to. I was honestly smiling the whole way through. Okay, guys, I have something else. In our initial call, I said no sound art, but I kind of wanted to make some sound art. So this is a how-to guide on how to make baklava from the baklava chef I interviewed. And the soundtrack is the music is a composition by the German 1800s composer Bach, and the sound of lava crackling underneath it.
What?
Alex, you're ridiculous. Can I play it? I want to play it.
Evet, baklava 40 kat ince hamurdan
They
oluyor.
start with making the dough so thin that when the chef holds it up, you have to be able to see the chef. It has to be that thin. So they put 20 layers of thin dough, and then they put walnuts or pistachio, and then afterwards 20 more layers. If it is not that thin, remember the sound it makes when you try to cut it? It doesn't make that sound. And then afterwards, you put it in the oven. But here comes the trickiest part. Almost the most important thing about making a good baklava is you have to put the sherbet, the syrup, on it in the right time, in the right heat. It has to be 70 degrees Celsius, and you take it out, you wait around 2 minutes, and then you have to put it on. If you don't do it, if you do it later, it will be doughy, not crispy like this. You can't be lazy about it. You can't be like, let's put some here, let's put some there. No, it has to be exactly at the same time, at the exact same temperature.
Öyle olduğunda baklava güzel baklava
That's how you do baklava.
That is the cheesiest and most amazing thing I've ever heard.
Oh my God, Alex.
Well done. I mean, and I want to listen to that over and over before I sleep.
Maybe this is my retirement plan. I can become an ASMR sound artist or something. I think I have a good taste for it.
I'm going to veto that plan, Alex. No. You have no to that retirement plan.
Anyhow, it's up to you now. Which baklava story is your favorite? Vote honestly, because there can only be one winner. And the winner gets a really cool prize, by the way. Go to our Instagram, Twitter, or Facebook right now and vote for your favorite story. Don't worry, we three will still love each other just the same. We'll announce the winner on social media this week. If you're listening to this after voting is closed, you can still find out which story won by following us at Kerning Cultures. This episode was produced by myself, Hebah Fisher, Dana Balut, and Alex Atak. Alex had production and translation support in Turkey from Dolores Selek, and sound design by Mohammed Khayzat. Thank you to Yahya Halaby, to my cousin Nihal, to Muharrem Tuna, Fateh Akhunash, and Dana's lovely mom, Ghada. And to Hallie Davison, our listener and friend who suggested the baklava theme for this competition in the first place. Thank you for sending us on this goose chase. Bella Ibrahim is our brand marketing director. We really want to do more episodes like this in the future, and when we do, we'll be asking for you to decide the theme on our Instagram, at Kerning Cultures. So follow us there to be part of the next one. Until next time.